So for integers, this idea of a number line, if you're having trouble, if you ever get mixed up with what's happening when you're dealing with positive and negative values, the number line can really help you. And first of all, anytime that you add something on a number line, it moves it to the right, and anytime you subtract something on the number line, it moves it to the left. But sometimes we're going to be adding negative numbers and subtracting negative numbers, so we're going to see how that all works. Here's our first one, -3 plus 8. See if you can do it in your head, and then you know what it is? It's +5. Now, if you're having trouble seeing how that's +5, you think of your number line, put 0 on there. You're going to start at -3. That's 3 behind 0. Now, adding 8 means that you're going to go 8 in this direction. Where would you end up? At 5. -3 plus 8 is equal to 5. Is it just a coincidence that 8 minus 3 is equal to 5? Or does that always work? Something to think about. Ready for another one? 5 minus 9. You have 5 cookies and you eat 9 of them. Wait a minute. What do you got, Sebastian? -4. Again, we can think of our number line, put 0 on there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is where we're starting, and subtracting 9 will move us back this way 9 spaces, and you'll end at -4. Now, a negative number does the opposite of a positive number. Yeah. A negative number does the opposite of a positive number. So if you were going to add a negative number, it's like subtracting. Because adding normally would go to the right, but since you're adding a negative number and a negative does the opposite, adding a negative will be like subtracting. Yes? Okay, we'll wait for a bit, let people write this down. So we've got -7 here is the answer. If you want to think of this on the number line, -4 is where we're starting. So here's our number line. I'm going to put 0 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's -4. Here's our starting point. Now, adding usually moves things to the right because we have adding here. But adding a negative always does the opposite. So here, adding would normally move to the right, but because I have a -3, I'm going to move 3 to the left. 1, 2, 3. That gets me to -7. Now, what a lot of people do in a question like this is they remember that adding a negative is the same as subtracting. So sometimes people even take an extra step and change the adding the negative to subtracting. So this becomes -4 minus 3. And then if you started at -4 and you think subtracting moves to the left, and I go back 3, I'm going to end up at -7. -4 minus 3 will end up at -7. So you could get -7 that way as well. Subtracting a negative number then becomes like adding, because it again does the opposite. So some people, when they see 8 minus a -7, they take the time to first say, well, subtracting the negative is the same as adding, so this is the same as 8 plus 7, which is 15.